Myself, Dr. R.R. Sanap, Head and Associate Professor, Department of Botany, Rao Bahadur Narayan Rao Boravke College, Srampur. Today, I am going to deliver the lecture on the preparation of Ayurvedic formulations. So, actually, it is the part of syllabus of T.Y.B.Sc Botany, paper 4th, that is BO 344. And title of the paper is the Medicinal and Economic Botany. So in this Ayurvedic formulations, so the crude drugs, they are made into the different forms. Actually crude drugs, they are nothing but the crude drugs, they are taken in raw condition or coarsely. Without isolation of these active principles, that crude drugs, they are roughly or in raw conditions they are taken. Sometimes they are made into the different types of forms are called as the formulations. And then that crude drugs, by adding some different types of ingredients, sweetening agents and so on, then they are taken for the relief of the diseases. So today I am going to deliver the lecture on the preparation of the Ayurvedic formulation. In that, the formulation, that is the Quath, then Churna, Kshar and so on. So first, let us say about this Quath, which is one of the many Ayurvedic formulations. So this Quath, it is nothing but it is the decoction of the crude drug. So while preparation of this decoction or the Quath, firstly, the crude drugs are taken. Take the crude drugs, and these crude drugs, they may be of different origin, maybe from the different types of the plant, its plant parts, maybe the root, maybe the stem, leaf, rhizome, floral part, and so on. Sometimes they may be from the animal origin or different mineral origins. So thus here that crude drugs, it may be of any origin as I told you. So it is taken, and that crude drugs, then they are cut into these small pieces or they are sliced or cut into small pieces. Thus here that crude drugs, they are taken, they are made into the slices and then they are made into the small pieces. And thus this small sized pieces of that crude drugs, they are taken into the earthen pots or maybe the different types of jars may be used. So thus here, after taking these slices of the crude drugs in the earthen pots or the jars, in that earthen pot containing the small pieces of these crude drugs, the water is added, and this water content, it should be the 8 to 16% part of the crude drug. So here the water is added in that sliced crude drug, and that water, it must be 8 to 16 times more or 8 to 16 times more than the crude drugs. Then thus here that sliced pieces of crude drug plus this water, then it is boiled. It is boiled in that earthen pot. And this boiling, it is carried out till that content, it becomes 1/4 or the 1/8 of the water content. So thus here that entire this material with that slices of the crude drug, it is boiled to a point that the entire content it becomes 1/4 or 1/8 quantity of that water. Then later on, entire this material which is boiled, then it is strained. For this purpose, the different types of the small sized sieves they may be used, or with the help of the muslin cloth, then that content it is strained. And thus after straining, the material which left behind, so that extract, that decoction, that is that strain, it is known as the quath. So thus here the quath is prepared, and thus this quath it is nothing but it is the decoction of the crude drug which is obtained after the boiling with water, and that quath thus it is taken in the fresh condition. So here when any person or any patient when it requires that quath, so this quath it is freshly prepared. When it is taken freshly, it is more effective. So thus here this is one of the many formulations, that is the quath, which is nothing but it is the decoction of the crude drug. Then let us see the next type of the Ayurvedic formulation, that is the churna. So let us see about the preparation of the churna. So this churna, so I think in this preparation, here the crude drugs are taken. So that crude drugs, it may be of the of plant origin, maybe of the animal origin or the mineral origin, and that crude drugs, then later on they are powdered with the help of the mortar and pestle. So in the by using the mortar and pestle, so that powder is prepared, and that powder is known as churna. But if we see its process, firstly that suppose that crude drugs they are taken, that crude drugs they are cut in small pieces. So the crude drugs, it may be of, suppose it is the stem part or the bark of the plant or this root or maybe the rhizome and so on. So suppose that crude drugs they are taken, that part is taken, it is cut into the small pieces, and by using the mortar and pestle, with the help of the mortar and pestle, so it is powdered. It is powdered, and thus here this powder then it is strained by using the sieves, or maybe sometimes this with the help of the cloth. So muslin cloth or with the help of the sieves, which are fine sieves, so then that powder is obtained, and that powder it is nothing but it is the churna. It is the churna. So many times when we are using these different types of the plant parts, maybe animal parts or maybe the minerals, many times they are bitter in taste. And so for that purpose, when we are preparing the chur, sometimes the jaggery is added as a sweetening agent, and sometimes maybe the sugar is also added. If we use the sugar, it must be double the churna. Suppose it is having the 10 gram, then we can add the 20 gram sugar. So thus here jaggery or the sugar, if we use the sugar, it must be the double of the churn powder is taken, and thus here that after adding this material, your churn it becomes ready. Now this churn, it is taken with the milk. Sometimes it is taken with hot water, or sometimes we may take with the cow's urine. So what you will get available, that churn, it is added in out of this materials, maybe in the milk, maybe in the hot water, or maybe in the cow's urine, and then thus it is by adding the churn in this material or the milk, hot water or cow's, you can take. So there are different types of churn in market, like Triphala churna, Kayam churna, then Narayan churna, Shatavari churna. So thus here there are different types of churn in the market which are used to cure the different types of diseases. So in all these churn, different types of ingredients are present. Say for example, in case of the Triphala churna, 3 different types of fruits they are used. It may be called as the Hirda, Beheda, and also the Aulas. So these different types of fruits they are taken, and from it the churn is prepared, known as the Triphala churn. So thus here this is the next Ayurvedic formulation, that is the churn. Now let us see about the next Ayurvedic formulation, that is the kshars. So this kshar, in this Ayurvedic preparation, the crude drugs it may be of different origin, maybe plant, animal, or the mineral origin. Their crude drugs are taken. So entire crude drugs they are cut into small pieces, and that entire crude drugs they are taken in the pot, and then it is burned, and after burn it is made into the ash. So after burning the crude drugs, that crude drug it is made into the ash, and then later on in that ash some quantity of water is added. And thus here in this ash it is dissolved in water. It is dissolved in water. So thus here in that pot the water and that ash it is mixed and it is allowed to dissolve. Then that water with that ash it is filtered. So here that ash is filtered. Filtrate is removed, and then later on this residue it is allowed to evaporate. So thus here that residue of the ash it is allowed to evaporate, and then later on after evaporation very fine powder is obtained. So thus here after evaporation fine powder is obtained, and that fine powder it is nothing but it is the kshars. So thus here the kshars it is obtained, and that kshars then later on it is used for the different diseases. So it is very important and effective formulation to cure the diseases. So thus here, this is the third Ayurvedic formulation, that is known as Dikshars. So thus here, today I have discussed on these three different types of Ayurvedic formulations. That is the Quath, second is the Churna, and third one is Dikshars. So thus here, I am going to conclude here. Thank you very much.